Alrighty guys, we're back for Mono Blue Tempo, and this is an Aetherdrift Standard brew, and I'm Blue Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, April Fools! Of course, Blue Cat returns on April 1st, playing cards like Haughty Djinn. It's a 3 mana, 4 toughness, it has flying. Am I really going to take the time to go over Haughty Djinn? Yes, I am, because it's kind of the main build around, right? So its power is equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard, and instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. We used to see this all the time make an appearance in Mono Blue Tempo. Now, we mostly see it in Azorius Mini Reanimator, which it's equally as powerful in that list, right? Not the only powerful 3-drop packed in, actually rocking Tempest Djinn as well. Triple blue mana for a 0/4, also has flying, and this creature gets +1/+0 for each basic island you control. Okay, we got 21 islands packed in, so that's nice. Not the only card in here that cares about us having islands on the board. Flow of Knowledge packed in as a 2/of. It's a 5 mana instant. You draw a card for each island you control, then you discard 2 cards. And not the only way to keep our graveyard nice and stocked up with those instants and sorceries for the Haughty Djinn. We're also rocking Dispersal, all 4 of them. It's a 3 mana instant speed, costs 2 less to cast if it targets an attacking creature, which is going to be often, I would say. So we do some rearranging. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Then you get to Surveil 2, which is kind of no joke. Not the only bounce spell packed in. We have a couple bounce off and an Into the Flood Maw as well. Okay, what else do we got packed in? On the top end here, we have Tolarian Terror. It's a 7 mana 5/5 with Ward too. It's funny going over the Terror as well, but yeah, I should, because it's also one of the main build-arounds, right? So costs 1 less to cast for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. So it should be all too easy to get this down to like 2 mana. Some games it's going to be 1 mana. It's going to be cheap. That's the point, right? So some more rearranging, kind of important. We got counter spells in here. Ew, gross. I mean, awesome, because we're Blue Cat, right? So Don't Make a Sound is actually the counter spell of choice here with 3 steps ahead. So Don't Make a Sound is 2 mana instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. We see that all the time. But then if they do pay the 2, Surveil 2. I don't know, man. I think that's going to be pretty good, honestly. So 3 steps ahead, got to do some rearranging. It's going to at least cost 3. Of course, when we're talking about at least, it might cost less if you have Haughty Djinn on the board, of course, right? 3 steps ahead should do everything beautifully in here. Even if we want to copy an extra Haughty Djinn with the middle ability, that should be really, really good. Bottom ability, draw 2, discard a card. We're stocking the grave for the Haughty Djinn and the Tolarian Terror, of course, right? So, all right, we have all 4 ops, an excellent way to get instants into the grave because it just replaces itself. The Scry 1 is also no joke. More counter spells with Spell Pierce. Yeah, should be fine as a 1/of in here. Moment of Truth also helping us stock up the grave, just more instants packed in. Here's a new one, Trip Up. This is a 4 mana instant speed. That's pretty steep for what this does. Target non-land permanent's owner puts it on their choice of the top or bottom of their library. Okay, so at that point, hopefully we are making this cost less with Haughty Djinn actually on the board. But what's neat about this too is it actually just has cycling for 2, which could just be a great way to put an instant into the graveyard anyways, and then it replaces itself. So I don't know. I'm actually interested to see how much this will do today. Also have a 1/of Emergency Aetherize, because one thing that Mono Blue does not like is when the opponents go wide. And the opponents have been going wide often, so honestly, we might talk about even more Aetherize when we get to the final thoughts. A bunch of honorable mentions, mostly just like counter spells, because I don't know, man. Deciding on what counter spells to play is actually pretty hard. Phantom Interference is definitely like the main honorable mention. If you're not rocking Don't Make a Sound as a 4/of, then you probably want 4 Phantom Interference, right? Essence Scatter, just like counter creature, honestly wouldn't be terrible. Negate, same concept, non-creature spell. I could see 2 of each of those in here, and we'd probably be able to successfully counter with each of them in almost every game. Long River's Pool almost made the cut. The main reason it didn't is because, yeah, Haughty Djinn's the main build around. Urtai Scorn is an excellent counterspell. Refute is a great budget trade out for cards like 3 steps ahead, and Spellgyre almost made the cut too. Or Spell Gyre? I have no idea. Anyways, guys, I do my idea is to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? Where's Mono Blue, bro? How come no one's playing Mono Blue anymore? I'm scared about that. I'm terrified. Honestly, though, it should still hold up nicely. We go first. This would be a weird mulligan, especially with the scry on the opt and turn 3 Haughty Djinn when it comes time. Of course, it's not terrible to wait till turn 4 for the Haughty Djinn so we could have a counterspell open, but we don't have any counterspells in hand anyways, so... Okay, Swiss Spear getting through for 1. Go ahead and opt, see what's on top. More mana isn't bad. But I want to see more. I want to see something for turn 2 here. I think there's a great chance of seeing something. Yeah, don't make a sound. That's really good. All right, don't make a sound is open. See if we can counter something good. 2 mana, maybe a Manifold Mouse. Man, that would be a great counter. Woohoo! Very nice. A really good counter. Look, it's a 2 mana card for a 2 mana card, but I couldn't be happier with that. Okay, 3 steps ahead, we can keep the counter open, or we can establish Haughty Djinn as a 2/4, which isn't terrible. It might actually be rough for mono red to deal with. Establishing Haughty Djinn makes sense to me here, based on what we're up against and what turn they're on. Screaming Nemesis turn, right? Okay. No blocks. Anticipate 59 Monstrous Rage. There's one out of the... Okay, they have 58 Monstrous Rage remaining. Oh, they're still going. Turn inside out. Wow. Oh, big chunk of damage. We're down to 9. Now I'm scared. We do have Flow of Knowledge for 4. I think just, like, getting the other Haughty Djinn down is pretty decent. We'd have a 1 mana 3 steps ahead for the bottom. We won't have double blue for the top. For the bottom ability, if we want to make the Haughty Djinns a little chunkier, next turn we'll have a cheap Flow of Knowledge, maybe find a bounce spell. We could die next turn, though, if we're not careful. Which might be why we would just want to keep the counter spell open. But I say we risk it, dude. Worst comes to worst, too, we do have block with the Haughty Djinn as well. Yeah, bottom ability open on 3 steps ahead. No attacks, because we're in danger. Totally are in danger. With turn inside out, this could easily be the fling style of mono red, where they just want to throw it to our face. Which is why I considered keeping the counterspell open instead. But we'll see. Let's see. 3 mana. A double block losing both Djinn would be devastating. So just a single block. We'll see how much they boost this. Hopefully they don't boost it to the point where we die. Because then the double block would have been worth it, right? But I don't want to lose both Djinn. Lightning strike our face. Okay. Okay, they still have a mountain open. Okay, turn inside out. Holy cow, dude. Holy cow. Okay. Okay, let's send the opt to the grave. That's 2 more. No, we're still not able to hit the Swiss Spear because Prowess gets it to a 5 anyways. So we could successfully send the island here too. And get the scry on the opt next turn, but nah, I want to keep the island. Because we could miss islands on the flow, and the flow is going to cost 4 because we're losing the Haughty Djinn. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully that's fine. We're down to 3, dude. We're in so much danger. We do find an island, but Terror is going to be the play. We might have to double block, but we also might just die to a lightning strike anyways. Draw 4. Oh, Dispersal. Wow, some tempo would have been excellent, right? Oh, guys, why didn't I play the island before? Why? Huh? Why did I do that? That's really weird, man. I'm still going to keep the emergency blocker because they could still play a hasty creature here too. Also, if we would have ditched the Dispersal, we could have had the Terror, but Dispersal's much better to keep open for sure. But yeah, we could easily die to some burn, unfortunately, but... Alright. Bounce the Swift Spear. Actually see the tempo side of things with a bounce spell. Moment of Truth and everything's pretty good. Top 3 cards. Yeah, I'll keep Moment of Truth because we could find something that we desperately want off of the Moment of Truth because we're peering 3 deep into that instead of just like surveilling it. Hired Claw is a problem. Luckily, we didn't get burnt away though. This time I'll actually play the island first, but yeah, we could have drawn 1 extra off the flow. Okay, Moment of Truth. Top 3. 1 card to our hand. Aetherize. That's interesting. Don't Make a Sound is probably a little better here, though. Because we're going to bounce something important with the Dispersal, and then we can counter it with the Don't Make a Sound. I do like the other bounce spells, though. Okay, then 1 into the grave. I guess the bounce off, I guess. We'll put the Aetherize back into the build. Okay, Dispersal is open. Get the Terror down. Great blocker on the ground. Technically, we could drop Dispersal for 2 mana. I mean, we have enough for everything here. Swing in the air for 9. Try to win next turn. Counterspell for the Challenger. One getting through on the Hired Claw. They have Swift Spear in hand open. I guess we have to keep the blockers. Yeah. It's rough, man, but... Okay, hopefully I'm playing this out well enough. At any point, they could just top deck the burn that they need to, because they hit us so hard the first couple turns. Crap. Okay. That's bad news, man. That's really bad news. We can't take 2 successfully here, right? We do this before the swing, bounce the Hired Claw. That way no Lizard gets through. If they play second Hired Claw or Swift Spirit, that's the counter. Or we counter whatever they do to boost. Okay, Tempest Djinn, we can send the island. We keep Tempest Djinn because it's an extra huge blocker and we want to try to win on the backswing. Okay, okay, let's see what they do here. So I'm pretty sure it's the Hired Claw over the Swift Spear counterspell, right? Because Swift Spear we can successfully block. Meanwhile, Hired Claw is slipping that damage past our blockers. Luckily, it is going to be Swift Spear for the turn, which means no extra Monstrous Rage or anything. Unfortunately, with Tempest Djinn on the top, we're still in danger. We really, really are. It's going to be a 6/4. So we could swing for 10 and try to survive the full swing next turn. Rockface Village boosts the Challenger. They can see more on the top. Still have 1 mountain open. But now's the turn, right? Because there's no guarantee we can actually see the 20 that we need to get through. And at any point, they can still top deck the burn. So getting us 1 turn closer to the victory. This is a tough decision, dude. At any point, they could see another Lightning Strike, or now that Hired Claw is safe, they could see just a normal Burst Lightning and swing with Hired Claw and win that way. Outside of that, no matter what, we're forced to block whatever, probably Challenger, but the creatures that boost. Oh, a hasty creature also gets them there, guys. Crap. Wait. Wait, no matter what. Wait. Yeah, no, we would have gone down to 1 if they missed the hasty creature. Was that worth it? It was worth the swing. They had something else in hand. It was a Monstrous Rage. Okay. So a few things that might have not been worth it there, right? Okay. There's a lot to talk about there, man. Holy cow. Wait a minute. I don't even know where to start. So if I would have saved the Haughty Djinn, the Monstrous Rage, that was about to kill us either way. Whichever creature we didn't block with our 3 creatures, if we didn't swing with Djinn, of course, the Monstrous Rage would have killed us. So it ended up being that I was correct in the assessment of swinging with Haughty Djinn that turn was worth it because there was pretty much almost anything that they could have seen would have ended us. And at that point, we would have just been getting lucky if they didn't see it. But a couple turns earlier, is it the same concept? Should I have swung earlier with the Haughty Djinn? Probably not, because we held back a lot of blocks. Bouncing the second Hired Claw was worth it for the turn, but it's too bad that it was 2 Hired Claw, right? In other words, we would have had a much better bounce and a counterspell on the challenger. Outside of that, keeping Tempest Djinn on top, I was thinking, oh, extra huge blocker on the ground, but then we win on the backswing, right? Maybe we should have sent this and tried to find more of our tempo, because if we actually found like another Dispersal or something, that probably would have been a little bit better, especially if we kept the Haughty Djinn back again to block, because then the bounce could have happened wherever they landed their Monstrous Rage, right? Or we could have found a counterspell off the top instead of the Tempest Djinn too. Just like so much going on there. The whole game, actually, I need to go back and watch through just to see what the optimized plays were, kind of look at it in hindsight type of thing. But yeah, I don't know, man. Let me know in the comments, how did I do there? It has been a while since I played this version, Mono Blue Tempo, right? The last one we played was Artifact Tempo, or Mono Blue Artifacts, right? And that's like one of my favorite styles of Mono Blue, because artifacts are so much fun in general too. So there's also that weird thing where I didn't play the island before the Flow of Knowledge. That was really weird, right? I could have drawn 5. Actually, what if we could have still been in that because I missed that one extra card draw? That's very possible, guys. It really is. Okay, we're going to give this a shot for sure. Opt is open. It's also that turn where I opted for the second Haughty Djinn instead of keeping the counterspell open. Dude, seriously, there's so much in that game, I don't even know where to begin. I'm going to send the second Flow of Knowledge. I'm not convinced right now that we need 2 of them in our hand. Okay, nothing for our turn 2. The opponent gets to play whatever they want here. The Patchwork Beastie. Okay. Yeah, they're playing around a counterspell anyways, so kind of sort of ended up working out. Gruul colors, I think they have ways to remove 4 toughness creatures. So right now, Haughty Djinn making our hand a little cheaper is okay since we have 3 steps ahead, but Tempest Djinn's actually a 3/4, which is actually pretty good right now too. I think just going Haughty Djinn, it's a 1/4. It might still be difficult for Gruul to remove, especially with generic burn and stuff, so I think it's safe enough. And if I had a 2-mana counterspell in hand, I'd probably wait till turn 4, but since I don't have the 2-mana counterspell, we just establish it, right? Yeah, Torch the Tower. Luckily does not hit the Haughty Djinn. What is this? Artifact, creature, or land. Oh, okay. They wouldn't have been able to take that back anyways. I'm just going to take the 3, as I don't want to risk the death of the Haughty Djinn. So we do have a 4-mana Flow of Knowledge, but we also could just go Tempest Djinn, extra creatures on the ground. Discard 2. Restock in our hand seems really good, but it's at instant speed as well. We can do it on their turn. The concept here would be if we had anything else to play for the turn, like in the last game. But I guess we save 3 steps ahead open, opt open, Flow of Knowledge open, and we pass it back. I gotta remember that we have to do the control thing sometimes when playing tempo, and I think that's okay. With 3 steps ahead open, we do have... Okay, Thrill Roller's probably worth the counterspell. 2 mana for the counter. We do have 2 mana for the bottom ability too. They can bring it back is the problem. But this is probably worth it, right? 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 Yeah. Yeah, let's go for it. Wait a minute, guys. Yeah, it's 5 mana, but it's 4 because the Haughty Djinn. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yeah, they can bring it back, but not this turn, right? That's where the tempo play comes in. I'll discard the island, I suppose. We still have the 5th island in hand if something does happen to the Haughty Djinn. And they're probably going to cheese this through, right? I don't want to risk losing the Haughty Djinn to a Monstrous Rage, which I think could exist in this style of deck list for sure. All right, 5th comes down. Now we actually draw 5 on Flow of Knowledge. Let's see what the discard is. It could be the opt. Okay, a couple Moment of Truths. No, it's just going to be an island. There's too many islands. Oh, it's 2 cards. My bad, guys. Can you send help, man? I've played blue once before, I swear. So we want to keep the opt open with Moment of Truth and Dispersal. Dispersal's probably the play, though. So I guess 2 islands is totally fine. Even though the Haughty Djinn's not getting a boost, we kind of sort of want as much of this tempo in hand as possible, right? So might be able to risk the block then next turn too. Okay, keeping everything open, not swinging, ending the turn. Okay, Dredger's Insight. They could bring the Throw Roller back this turn. Wouldn't be terrible. It'd be a terrible one to hit with Dispersal. Now, honestly, Patchwork Beastie isn't the greatest card to hit with Dispersal either because it's just 1 mana. But the Surveil and everything should be pretty good. They're going to bring back the Throw Roller. At that point, they gain 1. Blocking that isn't great. Sending it back to their hand is terrible. So I'm going to just attempt the block on the Patchwork Beastie and see what happens. If they do, it's... Oh. I think I've been taking damage for no reason, huh? So at that point, we could do Moment of Truth. But I'm going to wait till the very last moment here. Haughty Djinn could still get picked up by Torch the Tower. That is what it's going to be, too. Crap, guys. It was worth the risk, though, right? Right? Yeah, let's hit the Moment of Truth while it's 1 mana. Trip Up isn't bad, but kind of bad. Especially now that it costs more, too. Another Dispersal, I suppose, is the best thing for the extra Surveil and everything as well. I'll put the Bounce Off in the grave, and we'll keep the Trip Up in the deck list, I guess, just in case. Tough decisions, man, for real. Now, Throw Roller won't be powered up next turn unless they power it up. They find their 5th mana. Another Haughty Djinn's terrific. At this point, I would have actually preferred a counterspell. Tempest Djinn can come down. Both of them would be pretty tough for the opponent to remove, but I think Terror is a little bit better right now. That way we can keep Opt, Moment of Truth, and Dispersal open if they find another hasty thing. Yep, I think that's fine. And it doesn't have to be a hasty thing. It just has to be a thing that powers up Throw Roller. And Terror blocks Throw Roller much better than the Djinns do. Afterburner Expert. At that point, we still have to, even though it's terrible to bounce Throw Roller, we still have to, I was going to say, consider the tempo goodness that is Dispersal. Opponent? Come back, opponent! Come back! No, I want to play it out. All right, they have deemed themselves controlled by Mono Blue, I suppose, right? Because we still had 5 in hand, still had the open mana. We were at 10, but now that we actually had better blockers on the ground, they probably assumed we were ready to start swinging in the air, right? And start putting them on a clock, which we were. And I think they just assumed correctly as well. So, yeah, I hope I'm playing this out well enough, guys. But I put the deck list together. I was looking at it like, this should be relatively simple, right? Like, we counter the things when we need to counter the things. We bounce the things when we need to bounce the things. But then, like, actually playing it, it's kind of a different ball game because each opponent's bringing a different puzzle that you gotta completely riddle through. I will say this, right now, I am thinking about more counter spells, funny enough. Okay, we go first. We definitely try this. Yeah, I'm keeping this. Oh, guys, while I have you here in the middle of the video, make sure you check out that description where we do have that Discord link, as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in joining either of those up or supporting the channel that way. Ooh. That's a worthwhile counterspell. Especially while we have it open here, right? All right, let's get our Tempest Djinn down. Also, guys, for the YouTube side of things, if you enjoy the video, make sure you actually drop it a like. And if you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing because it really does help out the channel. So thank you, thank you. All right, do we start swinging? Is there anything that could affect the turn here? Moment of truth, I think we just want to do in response to their thing, right? I don't think at 2 mana, 1 card in the grave, there's anything that we could find that actually affects the turn. They're going to gain 2 back on the swing with the Enduring Innocence, but we kind of, yeah, we base what we grab on the Moment of Truth here. With 2 open, if we would have found another Don't Make a Sound, they would have just paid the 2. We would have gotten the Surveil, though, so that's definitely noteworthy. Yeah, now's the time to do it because we can find a Dispersal. A trip up, we have Cycle. Another Flow of Knowledge, it wouldn't be terrible. I'm going to go for Trip Up because that's one heck of a tempo play to put their Enduring Innocence like back on top or something. Another Flow of Knowledge, though, that could be good. We're going to put the Island in the grave and Flow of Knowledge back into the deck list because if we do end up seeing that later on, that could actually be pretty good. Now we have the Cycling, but I'm actually just keeping the Trip Up as a Trip Up. We'll see if it actually does the thing today then too. All right, 2 mana open. There's the 5th. We can go for the swing, get them down to 13. They still got lifelink on the Innocence. Probably want to keep it all open, right? I'm still going to go for the swing though. Yeah, Tempest Djinn. Looking cool, man, because if that was a Haughty Djinn, it would only be 2 power, so... Okay, another Scavenger. Let's see what their next card is. I think they're gonna want to play the Sheltered by Ghost soon enough. I am pretty scared of the Sheltered by Ghost, actually. I think... Yeah, no, we should do this now, though. We should hit the Innocence. Let's see if they put it on top. I think it would be worthwhile on top because playing it back down. Oh, they have their own Don't Make a Sound of all the counter spells, guys. What are the odds? Huh. Nice, opponent. Nice. Okay, well. Yeah, we got to be terrified of the Optimistic Scavenger. Being able to boost the Innocence, so much life gain. Flow of Knowledge on our turn while they're tapped out. Now that we have confirmation that there is, in fact, counter spells in here, I think doing this on our turn, I might as well do it before combat too, just in case. Couple ops, Aetherize, that's a lot of mana, dude. No matter what, we're getting rid of some of these islands, right? And then they'll have 2 islands in hand. Opt isn't the greatest card. I would have much preferred seeing like our Spell Pierce or our Dispersal. Being able to disperse all the extra counters that they're going to plug onto the Enduring Innocence. Yeah, not the greatest draws. I don't mind the Don't Make a Sound, but it's not open for the turn, so... Ethereal Armor. That's really bad news, man. That's really bad news. Oh, they're buffing wide. That's good news, because I was terrified of the lifelink on the Enduring Innocence, but they figure that... Yeah, I'm going to wait till the end for the op. We're in danger. Because they're going back up to 13 here. Tempest Djinn cannot keep up with that lifelink. It's keeping up a little bit. Like, we're kind of dwindling their life down, but they've gained a lot of life so far with the Enduring Innocence. Maybe 10 total, actually. Maybe more. I'm not 100% certain. I think they got Maybe 3 swings on Innocence. Now it's a 4/3/2. Gremlin Tamer. Okay. They're tapped out, but I'm still going to wait till the very end because they could play another mana too. They could draw into a mana and everything as well. They do find an island. All right, now we'll try the opt. It's an island. We send it for sure, dude. Aetherize is going to be terrific. But what if they drop a counterspell on it, right? I guess we'll have our own counterspell? The War of Counterspells? Maybe. Could Aetherize before we could opt before combat. And still have the 6 mana open for Aetherize and Don't Make a Sound. Also, if their counterspell is Don't Make a Sound, we'd have the open mana to pay it anyways. I guess we'll keep the 7 open so we have an emergency bounce off too. I'm going for the swing because we're going for the victory next turn with the Tempest Djinn. All right, end turn. Let's see what the Aetherize can get done for us, man. Did we do the tempo thing? Inquisitive Glimmer. Yeah. Make him pay the 2. Still got 1 open. Okay. This is fine. This is fine, right? Because all we have to do is stall the turn and swing in the air with the Tempest Djinn. I hope. Yeah, 3 mana open. See that full swing? There it is. Aetherize. No counterspell. Holy cow, dude. Oh my goodness. That is definitely worth hitting with the Don't Make a Sound. Looks like they don't have a Spell Pierce. It's gonna be a Sheltered by Ghosts, but we kept the bounce off open instead of going for the opt. Holy cow, dude. Good game, opponent. We really did the tempo thing that game. Holy cow. And like way too much mana, but it all came in. Look at this. The final turn, we tapped 7 mana on their turn. Literally every piece, every island on the board was necessary. Oh, man. I'd love to end on an epic high note because you can't ask for a better mono blue game, right? At that point, it's cool to see the other Djinn doing the thing outside of the Haughty Djinn, right? So, but we're going to try one more. Win or lose, I'm satisfied. I am totally satisfied with what the deck list was able to do today. I think maybe I should have practiced a little more with the deck list, but that's fine. Hopefully I'm just being too hard on myself or something. Hopefully I'm playing it out well enough for you guys. All right, we'll give it a shot. It's a little bit, yeah. This is a very tempting mulligan, actually. But I'm going to keep it. Let's see what happens here. With all 4 dispersals, a couple bounce. Hello, opponent. Hi. Okay, Moment of Truth. That's good. That's good, because we can keep that open with the Don't Make a Sound. Oh, Mardu colors. Fear of missing out. Oh, dear. Oh dear. Rite of Moth, okay. We definitely want to keep the Don't Make a Sound open for when it comes time for them to reanimate. But next turn, it's probably going to be a Moment of Truth. See what their 3-drop is, though. Okay, 3rd mana. Oh, start with the swing. That's totally fine, of course, right? We don't want to drop a Moment of Truth on top of that and then miss out on a great counterspell on a 3-drop. Okay, it's at the end of their turn. They're keeping 3 mana open, so now's the time to go Moment of Truth. Decisions. All right. Island to hand, island to grave, island in debt. Aetherize, hi, my new best friend, right? After that last game. 3 steps ahead is open. Don't Make a Sound. Moment of Truth. Yep. Good to go. If we don't end up countering anything, it's probably going to be 3 steps ahead bottom ability. Although Moment of Truth... Why would we use bottom... Well, Draw 2, discard 1. The discard 1, Another Fear of Missing Out wouldn't be a terrible counter. Now I'm gonna let them. Let's see what they end up discarding here. I actually like having the 2 don't make a sounds. I actually really like just having all these counter spells in hand. So we'll see. We'll see if that is a mistake. Atraxa to the grave. 2 mana open. Yeah, as soon as they try to reanimate, that's when we actually hit the counter spell. We can probably go Moment of Truth now, but realistically, if we find like a Dispersal, I guess the Surveil would be worth it, but they just play the Fear of Missing Out again for the turn and get the ETB again, which is actually pretty good for them, right? So it's tough, but okay. Trip Up. Trip Up is actually really good too. The problem is if they get the Atraxa ETB, they don't care if the Atraxa dies or gets tripped up or anything like that. So I'm actually going to go opt to hand. And then we'll put, you know what, I'll put Trip Up in the grave, so that way Terror is a little cheaper, put the island back in. And then we'll wait till the end of the turn for opt. Okay. Okay. Scry 1. Yeah, Terror's getting down. Okay, 4th mana is worth it. Yep, we keep it. See what we draw here. Haughty Djinn, hi. Hi there, buddy. Now, do you suppose, Haughty Djinn, if we play you, we'll still have 1 mana open for the don't make a sound, or do you suppose you're just going to die? Die this turn, right? And then they reanimate Atraxa? Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to risk that, right? So, because they have 2 mana open. If they were tapped out, I would attempt the Haughty Djinn. Because they'd have to tap mana on their turn to kill the Haughty Djinn, and then they wouldn't have mana to reanimate Atraxa. But as it stands right now, they might not even have what they need in hand. But I'm like Zombify, Rite of Moth. It should be all too easy for them to see what they need. 4 cards in hand right now. They've been trading out with Fear of Missing Out, right? So yeah, we should be extra cautious now that the Atraxa is in the grave. Go for the full swing. Yep. See if we drop Aetherize, and then Atraxa's coming back for sure. Could be playing around a ghost too. I think we just take the 4 here though. Be extra cautious, extra safe. Oh crap. Oh crap. They're passing it back. Now's the time to go draw 2, discard 1 on the 3 steps ahead, because we might be able to double down on a couple terrors on the ground to finally stop the onslaught of Fear of Missing Out swinging in. Okay, a Flow of Knowledge should be really good. I'm kind of afraid to send the Aetherize to the grave because it's the only one. So I think Moment of Truth is the discard. And Terror's now 1. Okay. So we could, again, we could just go Haughty Djinn, double Terror. That would be terrifying for the opponent, but we actually, with 4 mana open, we could have 1 don't make a sound to protect the Haughty Djinn, and the other one would still be 1 mana too after the protection. But I'm pretty sure they just pay the 2 on this turn since it's 4 mana anyways. So again, kind of awkward, like how we have to play around this. And the opponent could just be playing around our counter spells anyways too, so like waiting for us to tap out type of thing. With us finally playing a creature, they could have like Sheoldred's Edict or something, but also they could get around the wards too on the terrors pretty easily. They ditch a cut down. There's the Bitter Triumph. Yeah, we won't have the other make a sound, or don't make a sound open for next turn, so we let it die, unfortunately. Okay, 2 pieces of spot removal out of the opponent's hand, but we do have to anticipate more as well, as the big thing that their deck list is trying to do is survive the early turns until they can actually reanimate. Zombify. Don't make a sound. Number 1. All right. That's what I'm talking about, dude. They pass it back 3 steps ahead. So now that we only have 1 don't make a sound anyways, it's probably safe to actually get the Haughty Djinn down. 2 fear of missing outs. We're at 12. I think we can successfully slip this 5 damage through if we want to start a clock. And full counterspell on 3 steps ahead. That was a good draw, wasn't it? All right. Go for the swing, because now's the time. Now's the time to get the excess damage through for a couple turns in a row. There goes nothing. All right. Now we're talking, man. See what the opponent has here. A full counter on 3 steps ahead is probably... Oh, they only got 1 mana open. All right. Don't make a sound then, right? Yeah, we keep the full counter on the 3 steps ahead. With Planeswalker in the grave, fear of missing out has its ability, but another 3 steps ahead. That's really good, isn't it? We can successfully go Flow of Knowledge if we find another mana. Get Aetherize 1 3 steps ahead into the grave. Swing for 11. In the Haughty Djinn. I guess we full swing, actually, because we're at 12. It's looking pretty good now that we have multiple counterspells in hand. They do go for the chump on the ground. Yeah, we play it safe. We play it safe. Like, right now, you just have to keep doing the tempo thing. And with 3 steps ahead, too, we're gonna copy the Haughty Djinn, probably. Okay, they can have the Split Skin Doll. See what they find on it, because anything they do find we can counter, hopefully, right? I guess there are some cards that say this card can't be countered, but yeah, GG opponent. Again, just doing the tempo thing, man. Felt good, actually. Felt really good, but it depends what kind of deck list you're up against, too. I know one thing, all the extra counter spells, we really appreciated those. Guys, 42 minutes in. Let's go over the deck list again here. Yeah, I'm impressed. Mono blue tempo, blue cat. All right. Let me know what you guys thought of blue cat down in the comments. We've been doing blue cat. I think this might honestly be the 3rd April 1st in a row that we did blue cat for April Fool's Day, right? So we do mono blue tempo with blue cat, and it's fun. I like, you know, I don't mind it, and I don't mind tempo. And when we visited mono blue artifacts, it was artifact tempo as well. And I said in that too, like, tempo's so much fun. If you are an aggro player, I think you can appreciate what tempo does. And that is actually interact with the opponent's things, but also you're kind of doing the aggressive side of things too. You know, in this deck list in particular, it's a little bit slower of the aggressive side of things as you're controlling the board state and then establishing these big chunky creatures that the opponent's just going to have a rough time with, man. Then they try removing them and you're just like, actually, no. And then you counter the removal, right? So it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. I like all 4 of the dispersals because of what I've been seeing. When is the opponent not attacking? Good question. This is always going to hit an attacking creature, right? I'm pretty sure. What's nice is it's not like, you know, it reads 2 less if it targets an attacking creature. What's nice is it's not like tapped or something like that. It's just attacking. So even if they have vigilance or something fancy like that, Dispersal is still going to hit for just 1 blue mana. And then you return something, you surveil. Let's say you're not hitting an attacking creature. Well, there's going to be moments too where maybe you have to remove something before the opponent attacks. Maybe you have Haughty Djinn on the board already, making it a little cheaper. It's not going to be terrible to spend 2 mana on a Dispersal because you still return that creature, you still get the tempo play, but you're also surveilling 2. Surveilling 2 also boosts your Haughty Djinn that's on the board since it's costing 2, right? So yeah, I think it makes total sense to have all 4 of these, but honestly, it could be your bounce spell of choice easily. You could easily drop 2 and go up 2 bounce off. That would be fine. Maybe you don't like bounce off. Maybe you like Into the Flood Maw instead. That would be fine too, I suppose, right? But there's a reason I have a split of cards in here, a split of all the different bounce spells and stuff, because the extra bounce offs are really going to come in handy, and the one of Into the Flood Maw is going to come in handy too. but it could honestly just be a third bounce off too. And again, like any like arrangement of your bounce spells would totally be fine with the Dispersal, bounce off, and Into the Flood Maw. It's going to be a similar concept with the counter spells too. Let's look at this real quick. Don't make a sound, 3 steps ahead, and Spell Pierce. Oh my goodness, I'm going wide. Anyways, the counter spells, I actually think I would have liked more counter spells today. So 9 counter spells, that's 9 more than I usually play with. So it's a lot, it is. But does the deck list want even more? Maybe. And I had a whole bunch of counter spells in the honorable mentions that we could go through and think about. I wouldn't mind a second Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce hits so much all the time, and maybe you miss the Haughty Djinn on turn 3. Or on turn 4, right? Because there's going to be moments where you want to wait till turn 4 for Haughty Djinn so you have open protection with like don't make a sound. But there's going to be moments where you miss that. So, and also what if it's Tempest Djinn instead, then you're not making the don't make a sound any cheaper. So it would be nice to actually wait till turn 4, Tempest Djinn, keep a Spell Pierce open. And then at that point, right? So if they try to removing the Tempest Djinn, at least you have the Spell Pierce to attempt to stop the removal. They could at that point just pay the 2 if they went first, right? On turn 4, they could pay the full 2 probably, or pay the full 4, all 4 of their mana to get around it. That would be pretty bad actually. So yeah, I'm thinking about the second Spell Pierce, but it could also be any other onslaught of those counter spells that I went over at the beginning. Trip Up was interesting. I think that I like the concept of it in here. I like that we're making it a little cheaper with Haughty Djinn when it comes time, but I also think I just want a second Aetherize. Dude, deck lists are definitely knowing how to go wide. And then you're sitting there and you're thinking like, well, what if the opponent's not going wide? What if Aetherize is just a dead card in hand? That's also okay. You can discard it to 3 steps ahead. You can discard it to Flow of Knowledge, right? You can still plug it into the grave by other means. When the opponent is going wide, you're going to be very happy you saved the Aetherize, right? So I think I like that, but I also don't want to completely drop the Trip Up because I really like the concept of having it in here. I like that it's a new card that we're playing with in here too. So I like the cycling. There are going to be moments where it actually is quite effective at being a tempo spell, right? So, and outside of that, yeah, you could cycle it out pretty easily too. I like all 4 of the ops, just a great way to stock the grave for the Haughty Djinn and the Terror. Where's the other card draw? So opt, Moment of Truth, and Flow of Knowledge is the card draw. Let's do like, let's keep rearranging because I'm being silly about it, I guess. Then let's look at our creatures. There's our creatures. We got 10 creatures total, guys, but we should be able to find it all too easy as Moment of Truth helps us find the creatures when we need it and stuff too. This isn't really a deck list where you want 20 creatures. That would be weird, right? Totally. But if you do end up missing your creatures for too long, you should be able to find them eventually because you're using tempo spells like Dispersal, Surveilling 2, keeping your creatures on top, right? Moment of Truth to find those. Scrying on the ops, of course, helping you find the creatures, right? Extra cards draw in general helps you draw into your 10 creatures. So again, 3 steps ahead, also acting as card draw in here, but acting as the counter spell too. But we could totally move 3 steps ahead into this bundle of draw spells as well. So it's really interesting when we split it up like that. And then at that point too, I guess the Aetherize and the Trip Up are kind of sort of bounce spells. Kind of sort of. So we got 4 groups of cards here all coming together for tempo. And what we can see is we do have, with 9 counter spells, let's see, we have 10 bounce spells, and then I guess 10 card draw, 10 creatures. So actually, the things that we have the least amount of are the counter spells. At that point, what do we want to drop? Maybe like an opt. Opt down to 3, go up the Spell Pierce, or go up Negate, or any other, literally any other counter. Here's the thing though, I think the deck list performed well enough for me today to not actually change anything. But there we go, we did some rearranging, except for the second Aetherize, because this was an absolute MVP in that one victory, and I'm pretty sure it's safe to drop the Trip Up and go up that Aetherize. Outside of that one change, it did perform well enough to not actually change anything. And but again, one of the reasons it performed well was that one Aetherize. So going up to 2 makes a lot of sense. But yes, I could see dropping an opt or 2 and going up 1 or 2 counterspells. But I do like the opt, and I actually like all 4 of them too. And it's just a great way to filter itself out, get extra instants and stuff into the grave, which is going to be so important for Haughty Djinn. And honestly, even more important for Tolarian Terror to make sure it's actually cheap enough to play. So tough decisions. Depends how much bounce you end up needing. Okay, like trip up, you could probably drop the trip up for a counterspell too. But again, I kind of like it. I kind of, but it might also be a janky pick for this one too. Oh, guys, keep an eye on your collection as well. Tempest Djinn was a reprint for Foundations. I'm using an older version because I do not want to, I don't want to craft any of the newer versions, of course, if I have the older versions to use. So you can see I have 2 of the old versions, and there's the reprint in Foundations. So always keep an eye on your collection, especially with sets that have a whole bunch of reprints like Foundations, right? So yeah, opt in for the old version because I'm not spending 2 rare wildcards on a card that I will probably very rarely use. Hey, you know what? Maybe next April 1st, right? All right, guys. Hey, if you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. Let me know what you thought of the deck list down in the comments. Let me know what you thought of Blue Cat making a return. And guys, Haughty Djinn's gonna rotate, right? This year? Bro, I don't even know what's rotating this year. Is Haughty Djinn gonna be leaving? It's gonna be weird. I wonder what's gonna take its place. Is Tempest Djinn gonna be enough? Haughty Djinn's making that appearance in Azorius, though. Tempest Djinn's not going to make the cut in Azorius for sure. But maybe for Mono Blue. I don't know. That's going to be weird. Really weird. Yeah, what? Dominaria United? Brothers War? I don't know what's rotating out. I got to look into that. Or let me know in the comments for sure. And then let me know when rotation is, because I haven't been keeping up with any of the new stuff. Or any of the things that are around the new rotation rules and whatnot. I got to look into that for sure. Okay, guys, enough rambling, huh? Thanks again for being here, and I will see you in the next video.